seem like bullshit at times. That
I think the industry is rife with that, unfortunately. I mean, the industry would like you to believe that there's a pyramid, and right at the top of the pyramid is biomechanics, but right at the top of the pyramid is marketing, and biomechanics is like a little excrescence somewhere down here.
Yeah.
So I think that yeah, most companies they are quite often overruled by marketing. So I mean, I've had experiences where we've had concepts that we've taken to advanced prototype, and then we've researched them and we know they work, but we've had them pulled because they didn't fit in with a marketing plan.
Yeah.
So that's just a fact of life in the industry, and you know, it's something you have to live with, basically. And it's not, I wouldn't point the finger at any one company, because I know that all companies do that.
Yeah.
But we're seeing, we're definitely in a nice little innovation period now, Justin. You know, I think it's been very interesting for me since the 4% Nike Vaporfly 4% came out, and we've now got this incredible technological arms race, as it's been called. I mean, it's very interesting for a shoe guy like me to see that going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and especially then to actually be able to sort of see that. I mean, it's, well, like, of course, it's with the sole. We'll lay it on people if they're not too sure what what Nike have done. I mean, it's a carbon flexing sole, which is increased stiffness, but is actually able to. I mean, it's increased oxygen sort of capacity, hasn't it?
Yeah. We'll talk about the 4%, because the 4% was the first shoe. It was the revolutionary shoe, and it basically appeared in 2017 in the USA for the US Olympic marathon trials.
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry, that's not correct. It appeared in 2016 for the Rio trials. So, and then it was subsequently worn in Rio. But basically, what it is it's a fairly revolutionary shoe with three main things. So it has different geometry. Most notably, it has a very high rocker.
Mm-hmm.
It has a carbon fiber plate, and it has a unusually high stack height of an unusually compliant high rebound foam. So all of those three things combined, and what the net result of that is about a 4% increase in efficiency measured by oxygen uptake, which equates to about a 2% performance improvement. In other words, for those people that can utilize it, and not everybody can exploit these shoes, some people can't, but for those people that can, they're going to run about 2% faster. And when you're talking about an elite in a marathon, that is an astronomical advantage. It's a huge advantage.
Yeah. And I mean, the research that's going into I mean, it's the sole sort of construction, and we're at the stage now where we're able to actually put different materials in the same sole.
Yeah, well, there's all sorts of stuff going on. I mean, I got a new shoe today. Have a look at this. So this is not a super shoe. So this is not a carbon fiber plated shoe, but this is a shoe made by Nike. It's called the Infinity, and it's brand new, or Infinity Run KT is its correct name. But have a look at the setup of the rear foot on this. Where are we? There. Look at that. Okay. So look at the difference in the lever arm. So that's where your heel's sitting. And this foam is unbelievably compliant. I mean, it's as squishy as. It's very, very, very soft.
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying, like, this is an everyday running shoe for runners who, you know, it's not an expert running shoe by any means. But they're talking now, for the very first time, they're talking about footwear being actually able to reduce the incidence of running related injury.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's like literally like the holy grail. Nobody's ever had the nerve to actually make that claim before, but those sorts of claims are being made. So we've got on one hand a claim that shoes will reduce injury, and on the other hand we've got a claim that shoes will make you run faster. So we're in kind of a brave new world here in terms of athletic footwear. It's a very, very unusual time to be involved in the industry.
And the future, because I think I've probably misquoted you a couple of times before, is well, of course, the shoes are, as you say, the athlete has to be able to use the shoe.
Yep.
So first of all, And how does that going to then translate over then into sort of mass, the footwear? But also, I mean, is it going to be the stage in a couple of years' time where shoes are going to be more person specific, then sort of designed in store and printed, and or is that?
There's another whole hour, Justin. But it's a really good question, and a very intuitive question, because as we have it now, if you understand a shoe, so we got a shoe like this, right?
Yeah.
So basically, if this were a super shoe, if this were a carbon plated shoe, essentially you're going to have a point where you're going to hit the ground, right? That's variable for all runners. All runners are going to hit slightly differently, and then you have to assume that this foam is going to compress and it's going to rebound. But that's going to be different for all runners as well, because runners are different weights and different sexes and different biomechanics. So that's going to be different. And then you have to assume that the carbon fiber plate is going to flex at a certain point. So for the shoe to work properly, all of those things have to align for that specific athlete.
Yeah.
So for some it will partially align and they'll get a benefit from that, and that's great. For some, it won't align at all, and they won't get any benefit from the shoe at all. And we call these the non-responders. So the bottom line here is that I believe we're fairly rapidly coming down a path, especially with our manufacturing capabilities and 3D printing and the ability to use multi-viscosity midsoles in PU and stuff like that. We're very rapidly coming down a path where the shoe will be mass-produced bespoke. So total contradiction in terms, total oxymoron, but that's what will happen. So you will be able to, in your clinic, you will be able to gather your biometric data, take your foot scan, you'll be able to upload that information, and they will be able to, in very short order and probably quite cheaply, build that shoe for you. And that has really interesting repercussions, something I'm interested in with my work with netball, because with netball, a wing attack is actually playing a completely different game to a goalkeeper. They're not playing the same sport. The biomechanics are completely different. The actions are completely different. It's the same in Australian football. The forwards are playing a completely different game to the on-ballers. The on-ballers run a half marathon a game. The forwards jump up and down on the spot and catch the ball, basically. But the footwear is the same. Yeah. It's exactly the same. So we're now in a world where, for netball, for example, we will quite easily be able to build footwear that's not only for the athlete, but it's also for the position they play within a sport. So this is where it starts to get real interesting and quite exciting in terms of where we're going with this.
And will the footwear companies are going more towards like the orthotics companies are going to do with a library system of sort of soles that will match to different patients?
I think what they'll do is that not so much soles. I think they'll have a library of lasts. So at the moment, take a company like ASICS, who I'm very familiar with, obviously, with all of their marquee running products. So what they call the big five, so the Kano, the Nimbus, those sorts of shoes, they're all built off one last. It's got a name. It's called EOR 16. It's no secret. So all of those shoes are built off the same last. I think what will happen, especially with the advent of 3D printing, where I can go to uni tomorrow and I can 3D print a last of my foot, no problems whatsoever. So I think what they'll do is they'll have, rather than have one last, they'll probably have a library of 100 lasts or maybe 1,000 lasts, and you'll be able to talk to the company and match it to your patient. Say, I think last 47 is what is the last for this particular patient, and they'll then build the shoe from that last. And it even calls into question, Justin, whoever said that shoes should be a mirror image? Why should your left shoe be the same as your right shoe? Because not many people have mirror image feet. So we have the opportunity now to really start to look at things like comfort and fit.
I have spoken to orthotic labs before, and they do tell you that sometimes they will make an orthotic nearly match the other one, because sometimes people get it out of the box and it's different. Get a bit confused.
Well, some of the best results I've had with orthotic therapy, mate, are people who had their orthotics switched over, so they're wearing the left one in the right shoe. They say, these things
Yeah,
are
well, if
magic.
it works for the patient, but that's back to, I mean, I can't remember what the shoes were, but just back to what we talked about in terms of the marketing and patients and different things. We had the triathletes are always the good ones. They're always like really crunching the numbers and I mean, when you actually sort of sat in front of this guy and explained that compression, I can't remember what the shoes were. We're going to give the kinetic return ones.
Yeah.
You're talking about you're 17 stone and you're there's no, is there kinetic return? It's bullshit.
Well, this was one of the great arguments about zero drop and minimalism and the discussion about drop at all. I mean, of course, the drop for somebody who weighs 13 stone is not the same as the drop for somebody who weighs 8 stone. It's completely different. And what's more, the drop for somebody who's a size 13 is not the same as the drop for somebody who's a size 8 because it doesn't scale. So, that's where the whole argument nearly drove me mad because people are just thinking, oh yeah, what's the drop on that? I've got to have it at X millimeters, and thinking, well, it's insane. I mean, even with manufacturing, there's a 4 to 6% error. So the fact is, you may get a brand new pair of shoes, and the left shoe maybe have a different drop to the right shoe out of the box, brand new. So
yeah, and that was the thing. Well, they think. I mean, was that where the advent of? When you said, I mean, the holy grail now is increased performance and decreased injury, and I mean that was the whole sort of. Was that the whole premise of the barefoot running? Was how come they're spending all this billions on research and technology on footwear, and the injury rates are still high?